The chair of the AU is coming up. We have consulted as heads of state from the East African community together, and we have agreed to sponsor one candidate.
Na mkinitaka, mkiniita, nitahitika. Sawa.
Baba, your name alone is enough to make you the chair of AUC.
Raila Odinga will bring in those memories of Pan-Africanism.
Nikiitwa nitaitika, nikiitwa nitaitika.
The chair of the
And there is an African proverb that goes, I think it's controversial. If you can't buy it, steal it.
If you can buy it, steal it.
Steal it.
But also it depends on how you steal it, yeah? When we after seeing the scenes from St. Petersburg and
Yes.
and Moscow, yeah,
87. Straight A.
yeah,
Clean one.
yeah.
Good evening from wherever you're watching us. This is Debatable. My name is, Courtesy. Courtesy.
I see you're learning quick.
Courtesy.
You're learning quick,
It's
bro.
a full house again, and we are happy. And we will start our introductions from my left.
My name is Daniel Yen.
The man, there is a way he introduced himself. Somebody asked him his name, and he's like, "Yeah, if you know the Japanese currency."
Yeah.
That's why some parents actually took their time naming their kids. So I think my parents were they knew what they were doing. If you guys didn't know what they are doing, I'm sorry, but you can come and take some lesson from mine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I see, but that is debatable.
That is debatable.
That is debatable. We can agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Always.
Yes.
Well, my name is Damian.
Yes. Are you ready for the day?
I'm very.
You look startled. You're like, where am I?
See, I'm being initiated into this group.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in a way, I have to prepare myself, at least acclimatize
Yes.
to the discourse that is going to be generated here.
Hey, every time we have a guest, people coming in with new
New
big words,
terminology.
acclimatized
Yeah.
to the discourse. Yeah. Probably our guest could tell us a bit of what you do. I think last time we had an international relations, was about to say professor, but a scholar.
Professor Pat.
Professor Pat.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also we had a public policy
Administration,
administration. Yeah.
So I am a youth leader
Yes.
in Roysambu constituency.
Yeah.
And a political commentator and also a political scientist.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay. Full house. Full house.
Yeah.
On your on my far left.
Yeah.
Yes. Myself, I'm a policy and as well as administrator. So it's a full house for my fellow scientists. Sometimes we were called the natural science scientists, but actually we are for my case, I'm a policy scientist.
Yeah.
He's a political scientist. So we are all scientists here.
Okay.
Yes.
So we can also equally qualify that Baba Raila Amolo Odinga is a scientist in his own right.
In his own
Yes.
right.
It is past and moved.
Do you know, Alan, even the people who even make tea,
Yeah.
those are also water scientists.
What a scientist.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So I am a journalist scientist.
Yes.
It seems.
Into the science of journalism.
Yes.
And my name is Boniface Mirikwa. I'm also a scientist.
Bonnie, be for real.
I'm also a scientist.
In economics.
Economics, social science.
Okay, and mine is Alan Hubbard, and for me, always I'm a journalist,
Yeah.
and a social change champion. That is what I do on a daily. Gentlemen, what stood out for you in the political arena this past week?
Well, the win from Moscow
Yes.
was a very strong win.
Yeah.
It was a
You
statement.
you almost called it.
I
Yeah?
almost called it. I said 86.
Yeah.
Just 1%.
No, I think Vladimir Putin was watching, and I was like, no, this will be. He was like, this will be too obvious.
Yes.
Yeah, this will be
let me just do an inch higher.
an inch higher.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is not very obvious.
Yeah, so that was my highlight for the weekend. I was
Yeah.
following the elections and the people who were involved, the contestants against Putin. And
Yeah.
well, we knew if we can call an election
Yeah.
and we can call almost the percentage that someone will win, just tells you that this was an obvious election.
But we say that amongst other opponents, but we really never known these opponents. Did
We
they
didn't.
really exist?
I think they were handpicked.
I don't think. Maybe, there's this that's in the event of internationalization, that this country where they have a president, but internally the president is known more than even the PM. But now from the outside view or the diplomatic view, you already know the prime minister because it's always the outside. So to you may not, because you're not a Russian, you may not exactly.
Obviously, I'm not a Russian.
You may not exactly know them.
Yeah.
Bringing in a different, an interesting perspective. You see, they say all politics is local.
Yeah.
I'll tend to think the contestants were not handpicked.
Yeah.
You see, even before the election, sometimes last year, there was a lot of friction between Putin's government and the opposition, which culminated into the assassination of the opposition leader.
Yeah.
I cannot pronounce the name of the opposition leader.
Navalny.
When we began the
Come
show...
again?
Alexis
Alexis.
Navalny.
Alexis Navalny, yes.
Yeah.
When we began the show, he began with a proverb. If you can't
Buy it.
steal it.
Yeah.
I see it differently, of course, from the proverb.
Yeah.
From the resounding 87% win, it is clear to me that Vladimir Putin stole the hearts of the Russians.
Wow.
You see?
See what you did there.
Yeah. Stole the hearts.
Didn't steal the votes, stole the hearts.
Stole the hearts. To me, because
Yeah.
we all know the dynamics of elections,
Yeah.
even global elections.
Yeah.
These came as if it was nothing to him, because analyzing his last speech,
Yeah.
he was with a lot of joy. He was with a lot of hope, saying that this is now the time when Russians need to demonstrate utmost national unity.
Yeah.
You see, basically the Russians are telling
The
Putin,
West. Yeah.
go ye and continue protecting Russia.
Yeah.
He has the full blessings of the Russians. Now it's up to him to tighten up relationships. You saw Xi Jinping pledging support to Russia. So, and it comes against the backdrop of very many things, because there are some people who view Putin as somebody who's turning Russia into a completely militaristic state.
Yeah.
So I think it's Vladimir Putin has everything under his fingertips. He can decide to continue with the war in a more diplomatic way.
Yeah.
I think let's just wait and see what is in store for Russia.
And I think also interestingly, as the elections during the weekend, the elections weekend, Ukraine attacked Moscow. I think it was Moscow and St. Petersburg, but the mayor of Moscow came out and said, "Yeah, it's okay. The attacks happened, yes, but there wasn't any harm that was done."
Yeah.
Probably to you, Ian, what stood out for you politically over the week?
No, maybe just to add on what Damien was saying.
Yes.
Concerning the issue of the win. So you see it already. It's like you're giving what the Russian are telling Putin is like. It's like they approve of the war that was started.
Yeah.
And perhaps all this time we made there's the propagation that many of the Russian people were not for the war.
For the war, yeah.
But I think it has been negated by the huge margin win. Yeah. So.
We are speaking as if we do not know the kind of Russia that we're talking about, yeah?
I'm surprised.
The picture that you're painting that this election was free and fair, as we say here in IEBC, yeah? Where you say IEBC for a free and fair election. We don't really know about the Russian court of level of IEBC. Before the show started, I was of the idea, yes, there might be, that threshold might have been met, but also to perpetuate what you're talking about, but from his stall, so that he can paint a different picture, exactly the picture that you're talking about. So we're not really sure if the 87 ilikuwa ile wa kweli ama ilikuwa na Mwakenya mahali.
Let's work with the nons.
And by the way, over the weekend, Kim Jong-un was seen riding in an Aurat Senat. That's the vehicle that is reserved for the president of Russia
Yeah.
and very important people of Russia. So, you know, there's the UN convention that Kim Jong-un, because he's sanctioned, should not receive such luxury products.
Yeah.
But it was a statement also from Russia
Yeah.
that they are ready now to have close partnerships with North Korea.
Yeah.
If there continues to be the embargo and everything around NATO and the US
Yeah.
against Russia. So that was also something that happened this week, this weekend.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Away from Russia.
Yeah. Now, and on the what Bonnie is saying, personally, I think when it comes to international politics, it's more of a do you have the power to take, like we all know, power is taken.
Yeah.
Nobody will ever give you power. Even the man who's dying on the seat will make sure that he die as king. He will never relinquish the control.
Wow.
So as some of those laws in most cases are made for the weaker nation, so that the stronger country can control them.
Yeah.
So as much as Russia is a superpower, he can break them, he can amend them, and nothing will be do. But Haiti does that.
You want to start some unconventional conversations right now?
Those are just facts.
Big fish and small fish.
Okay, just to add up a little bit on still on the Russia issue.
Yeah.
I think right now Putin is reworking his strategies. He's now leaning towards the states that appear to be championing his agenda. From Xi Jinping's statement, it is very clear that there is something cooking between Russia, countries such as North Korea, China. There is a lot of diplomatic relations that is being tightened right now, because he said, now this gives us an opportunity as China to continue engaging diplomatically. But you see, we know politics. Sometimes even in times of war, countries will come and pretend to talk economics and what have you, yet the real enemy who is being fought is known. We know the biggest culprit here will be the United States of America. Definitely so. Away from Russia, I also saw something about Haiti and what is happening with Haiti. I know it's an emotive issue in our country. You saw the premier of Haiti came to the country just a fortnight ago. They had an engagement, rather discussion with the president. There were some agreements that were reached. What happens after the premier leaves this country? The next thing we hear, he can't access the airport. The next thing, he has now relinquished his position as the prime minister. I think this
Now Haiti has a prime minister in the name of Barbecue.
Jimmy Cherizier.
What is happening? I'm thinking, perhaps, don't you think countries, or rather states, should employ other mechanisms? Because if war does not settle the problems there, don't you think there needs to be a conversation whereby now, you see, not necessarily that if there is war needs not only to be addressed by war, you know, because you have had instances whereby countries, we have warring countries, year in, year out. I think this needs to be a conversation that needs to be embraced, unless there is a big boy somewhere who has some vested interests. Then I think Haiti should employ a different mechanism, or rather the states that appear to be
interested in
that, and our country is part of it. Let us not sugarcoat anything.
Yeah, somebody would like, it's an African perspective.
I can jump in on that. In economics, we say sometimes we let the economy sort itself out. No interventions. That when there is a lot of supply, the demand will sort itself out. Sometimes that is the solution, and I agree with what Damian is saying. But the question is, how long will we have to wait for that equilibrium to be met? Now that is the question, because you will find that barbecue is there. Barbecue doesn't seem like someone that anyone can reason with right now, because he said that he doesn't want the PM to be the PM. The PM has left. What is barbecue still doing right now? You know, unless barbecue gets what barbecue wants, there will be no peace in Haiti. So that is when now you'll need some intervention, because we don't know how long will be how long, and we don't want to go to the Rwanda way.
Yeah.
That we wait for something to happen, then it goes
We're
to
seeing
a genocide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think barbecue is waiting for some tacos.
That's a good one.
Let us.
We should also call him Jimmy.
Let us bring it back a little bit home. Yeah, not even a little bit. Let us just bring it back home. Yeah. What stood out for me, I think, why is the deputy president playing prefect?
He knows that that is his role, first of all, as the second in command of the party. I think he sees that as his sole role to make sure that as the president is dealing with more important issues, he comes into as the senior most person now after the president to hold people accountable and make people to be united against in one party.
I would really love to hear from from all of us what we think, because when I talk about the deputy president playing prefect, we have seen heckling in the presidential sort of visits across the country. First, they started in Kiambu County and at some other regions. I think it also happened in Meru. A couple of weeks ago, we saw it in Kericho and then Bomet. So the deputy president went to what was Singishu and is like, why would you do this to your own? But then there are two things that I would like us to discuss here. There is a video that I did for our Shorts platform last week, and I was like, what happened? Because when you hear the president talk or speak about this particular issue, he says, you wait until 2027 for you to be able to get rid of this particular, not necessarily get rid, but vote these leaders out. But I'm like, what happened to impeaching governors who would believe, or impeaching leaders who would believe that are not serving our interests as the populace? Why is the president consistently communicating to the populace that, hey, there is nothing that you can do about it right now, just vumilieni tu, ikifika 2027, that's when we can do something about it?
Well, first of all, the president at the end of the day is a political leader, and I think he stand a lot of things he stand a good chance standing with the governors, because at the end of the day, change come with a lot of things that you cannot control.
Yeah.
So maybe perhaps it's looking from a perspective of I think 1 year or 2 years is too early to judge from a governor perspective. You cannot actually judge the performance of a leader, especially now given how much Kenya has come from. Like in terms of there's so much structure. There's some you don't wake up today and do something. It has to pass through processes.
But then there is a deputy governor who is being impeached right now. So why are these particular regions special?
I can chime in a little bit.
Yeah.
First, I'll begin with the heckling issue. Like we were talking on the sidelines, that there is nothing that happens in politics
Without
coincidentally.
Yeah.
Everything is usually deliberate. Deliberate. It happens by design, not by default.
Yeah.
First things first, there is the disgruntlement by the electorates, in the sense that if I begin from Kiambu's case, having studied Mount Kenyan politics, we even discussed that politics is regional and local. Particular regions, if you go to particular regions, there is a message that you have to go with in order to sell politically.
Yeah.
Places like Mount Kenya, those are not places whereby you will say, if I become this, I'll do this. You have to show them. They speak economy.
Yeah.
There are a lot of pledges that the president came with and promises of goodies that I've never seen the light of the day. That is also there. So
somebody has something to say about that, but continue.
So because if you go to somewhere like Central, Central, people from the Mount Kenya, people who understand the political landscape of Mount Kenya, they know how far Mount Kenya region has come politically speaking. So there's that aspect. Now I'll attempt to address heckling in a place like Rift Valley, which is the president's bedroom. You see, there is a lot of local politics, of course, at play. The president will not entertain an idea of impeachment, which is all now being propagated by MCAs who want to now impeach the
Kericho governor.
There is Kericho governor. There is the Bomet governor, Professor Hilary Barachok as well, who's also facing the
serious
criticism. So the president's government also is facing criticism. And for the past 2 years, the president has been struggling to seek validation.
Yeah.
You see, this is the first time where I can see the president actually begging people to understand what he's doing.
Yeah.
Remember, there's a time the president called the MPs of Kenya Kwanza for a retreat, complaining why is it that the policies he's talking about, the MPs are not talking about them, the cabinet secretaries are not talking about them. The president actually lectured his people like children. So the deputy president comes in to appear like he's not protecting the president, like what my colleague has rightfully said. And all deputy presidents have done these, except our current president. Never did it. But now the president, the deputy president, also politically, is now facing some challenges, including from his backyard. He's facing some slight opposition from certain leaders. So now this is his time to stand with the president with the hope that coming into the next elections, 2027, of course, definitely is also protecting his position. He also has to demonstrate some aspects of loyalty towards his boss. But even the deputy president knows very well there's a problem. Yesterday, he was in Uasin Gishu. Why is it that the president was with the deputy today, and then the next day you see the deputy alone?
Still in the same place.
It is very obvious he was sent. You go and clear that mess. The president cannot be embarrassed. I choose to see it that way.
You have that's a mouthful.
I'll agree in parts that the president has undergone quite a few embarrassing moments lately, from the central to the other region where it's his backyard. But also we have to remember that when the UDA party was doing its nominations, the president was very, very deliberate to allow people to choose the people that they want in their offices. So among the parties that were competing during our last elections, I think the UDA did a very good job to make sure that the people who were really needed in the society are the ones who are elected. So I don't believe anyone should be faulted when these leaders are not performing. It is their own choice. You remember Caleb Kositani wanted the Uasin Gishu ticket, but he was denied, and Koti Moja was given that chance because the friend of William Ruto. So they were given the chance to choose their own people. Now, if their own people are not performing, I believe they have their right to heckle whatever they want to say, but I don't believe also it is right to disrupt a public address just because you have your own local issues. I believe they can solve their own local issues in a perfect way and not disrupt these addresses by the president.
When we say, okay, and this is not to diminish the presidency, but when we say that we are not supposed to fight in front of the president, still a family example, when you really want your dad to see something from a sibling perspective, you will not take that fight to your mother. Probably you might fight in front of your mother, but you will realize that she's doing nothing about it. Up until you will have those squabbles in front of your dad, and the dad will sort of hit the hammer and say, this is the direction that we're going to take about this one. The residents might have been making noise about this particular thing, but the people within at the local level, they aren't doing anything. So mfalme amekuja, this is the right time to show that we are in distress.
Alan, I agree. Actually agree. You see, for far too long, even as we were discussing on the sidelines about the demerits of African leadership, for far too long, the African political landscape has been smeared by a problem called the big man syndrome. As you put it correctly, like in a sibling situation, you want to draw the attention of your father. I'll probably put it even in a polygamous setup where the fathers rarely
here we go back again to polygamy.
Because the president I can liken his situation to that of a
Yeah.
political figure, because
Yeah.
this is a man with many children, probably
Absolutely,
many wives.
yeah.
So, in order for the children to get their attention, probably one child will come with porridge
Yeah.
and even pour it in front of the father, so
Yeah.
that the father will ask, "Kwa nini umemwaga uji hapa mbele?"
Yeah.
So you see, I'm seeing the people of Bomet and Kerio as people. Remember, this is the president's backyard.
Yeah.
These people resoundingly and overwhelmingly voted for the president.
Yeah.
I think they were drawing his attention. But of course, definitely there is a political connotation in
Yeah.
it, in the sense that politicians, or rather the leaders of those respective counties, usually mobilize.
Yeah.
They do very many things. But all the same, the buck stops with the president of the Republic of Kenya.
Yeah.
Where I disagree with I agree with the deputy president to the sense that, of course, this is the president of the
Yeah.
Republic of Kenya, a symbol
Yeah.
of national unity. Above everything,
Yeah.
the president deserves respect.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, also agreeing to what he's saying,
Yeah.
where does democracy end? You know, where does democracy end?
Yeah.
The constitution does not prescribe
The
where
kind of
democracy
respect.
end.
Yeah.
You see, that is the only opportunity a local mwananchi has to see the president.
Yeah.
In as much as it did not come out openly, the truth of the matter is there is a grievance. And you see, to argue that actually where I disagree with the president also is this. The president in his rejoinder said, if somebody has not worked well, let's wait till
Up until
2027.
Yeah.
While I also agree with what you are saying, well, the people wanted this person, but this person was not selected.
Yeah.
But still, does this give the leader the power to now start misbehaving, or rather not operating well, does not operate within the confines and dictates of the constitution, because they feel they are not really accountable to the citizens?
Yeah.
I think no. Actually, the president of the Republic of Kenya even has powers to dissolve a county government.
Yeah.
Yes. And even in the event whereby there are particular functions that are devolved, but they are not operating, a particular county government cannot operate well. There is that provision, Article 187 of the Constitution. It's clear that can even be transfer of functions.
What exactly happened in Nairobi?
It happened in Nairobi.
Yeah.
So the president has a responsibility,
absolutely,
to look at the issues that have been presented.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it also highlights the loophole in terms of civic education that our people also don't have. When you want to address an issue that you have maybe a problem with a politician.
I feel the urge of being rude and cutting you short. The biggest problem that I think we have in our country, or even we have as human beings, is always to run to the fastest thing that we can hold on as the problem. You get? For how long are we going to hold on to this issue of civic engagement? If we elected a bad leader, we elected a bad leader.
And I'm coming to that. I'm saying, yes, we elected a bad leader, but he's heckling the solution of the problem. It's not. If you want to remove a governor, there are processes.
There are processes. From a political perspective, exactly as Damien has put it, the president has the right. Now, the president has not said, we will do something about it. The president has said, hold on, just tighten your seatbelts until we are done with this thing up until 2027. So even actually, it's not even the issue of civic engagement from the common mwananchi. It's even from the president's ability.
In a political way, in a political discussion, I think if I were the president, I wouldn't want to meddle in any county's independence and say that I want to dissolve the MCS, because these are people who are chosen by the people. It will only make you unpopular. So as the president, I think he has limited options. And one of his options is to send...
So the president would rather play a political position rather than a constitutional position?
Of course, he's looking for votes at the end of the day.
Then how far does democracy go?
I think there's nothing barring democracy. There's nothing barring democracy.
Will the president lose votes in Bomet?
There is nothing barring democracy, because the people don't want this governor. The people should go and remove the governor. Nothing is barring democracy there. If the president doesn't want to indulge them, we've seen it happen.
No, maybe to offer in some insight. Well, first of all, if you are saying that the people chose bad leaders, what does that tell you about the people themselves?
The people themselves are bad,
because the
but now we are not going to wipe. We are not going to wipe out an entire community just because they are bad.
That is
it.
Yeah.
The leaders we elect are
Yeah.
a reflection of who we are.
Yes.
Yes.
And that one we
That's
agree.
it.
Yeah.
And also from what Damen is saying, as the president, he told you that wait until 2027. As he said, he has the constitutional right to do whatever he can do to make sure that things align.
Yeah.
So therefore, what if he's just saying the people, yes, I've heard you, and
But
I'm
Muvumili.
going to walk. I'm going to talk with the governor on the sidelines.
Yeah.
It can also mean that
You
we can
saw-
we can only speculate. We
I can-
cannot actually tell
Thank you.
entirely.
I can try to compare what happened with the Meru governor situation.
Yes.
You saw very well.
Yeah.
And first things first, Meru is in Mount Kenya.
Yeah.
You saw very well the leaders who were interested in these affairs. Actually, the deputy president was very active.
Yeah.
And even there was a time he came to the church and said, you Meru people have been complaining about ABCD.
Yeah.
The first time we tried to assist you. The second time we are seeing problems here.
Yeah.
This is a local problem that will be sorted by only you people.
Yeah.
Okay, to a certain extent, I tend to agree with him because I tried so much to analyze what he was saying. So let me agree with him
Yeah.
to this extent. While the constitution is there, the provisions are there.
Yeah.
Actually, even in the impeachment of governors. Right now, there is a deputy governor who has been impeached.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the first deputy
Deputy
governor
governor
to be impeached under the 2010 constitution.
Yeah.
Probably because he didn't play his cards right. While we are talking about a legal and a constitutional process, but of course they are spearheaded by the political process.
Yeah.
I think the president does not want to engage himself so much into the local affairs of the politics, especially in his backyard, and also seeing what is happening with these impeachment motions being brought left, right, and center. They are really, really removing the real discourse. The president is so obsessed in convincing the electorates and
That you
working
need
on this.
houses.
He's working on digital jobs. Yes, that is it. That is it. The president is interested in ensuring.
Yeah.
I'm not saying interested in ensuring his agenda is implemented, but that agenda
Yeah,
has
yeah.
to be spoken
Clearly
about.
spelled out.
That,
Yeah.
that is what, and that is his political agenda. So the president feels is above certain political.
So these things are petty.
skirmishes.
To him, they might not be petty, but he's demonstrating it as petty.
Yeah.
It is very clear from the president's speech. He was visibly angry.
Yeah.
Even yesterday. So the deputy president saw the demeanor of the president.
Yeah.
And he probably knows him. We also know our president.
Yeah.
When he's angry, he's angry. Yeah, and he'll say it straight to your face.
Yeah.
Msipige kelele kwa mkutano yangu, hii si
Yeah.
mkutano ya watu wa kuzimia.
Yeah.
So to some extent, I think there is value in what he's saying too. Yeah, that there's he has a lot in his plate.
Yeah.
And getting into local politics
Wouldn't be a good sign.
will not be a good sign for him at the moment. But if you saw the deputy president coming back and how he spoke yesterday, it was very clear.
Yeah,
He
the
was
president is
sent
not happy.
by the president, and the president was not happy about it.
Yeah.
It's like you're in the same car alafu ambie rudi huko.
Yes,
Sinifuate Nairobi.
exactly. Yes. He was not happy.
There is this strike that has been that is still ongoing, where the Minister of Health said we do not have money to post interns. I saw a circular today. The Cabinet Secretary for Health, Susan Nakumicha, saying that now we will post the interns by April 1st. I don't want to ask this question, but I'm going to ask it either way. Has Nakumicha failed in her capacity as a Cabinet Health Secretary? Moment of
Personally,
silence.
personally,
Yeah.
I believe we've had several of these incidences quite time and time again.
Yeah.
And sometimes it also depends on the economy, how the economy is reacting. You'll have industrial revolutions and people are not feeling that they have enough in their pockets just because, you have inflation, some things like that. So it can be multifaceted in terms of how everything is affecting one another. The health docket, we've seen Nakumicha also engaging in things that are not particularly in the Ministry of Health. So in that aspect, we can say what we see is also, we interpret basing on what we see. If she goes on to play politics, local politics, then we are left to wonder if at all she's looking at her docket in a serious way. But I will say that it is a multifaceted issue that can be affected by a lot of things, and not only leadership from the ministry level.
Just to top up to what he's saying, the problems of doctors did not begin yesterday. Even if you look at the CBA,
2017.
So the CBA was signed in the collective bargain agreement was signed in the year 2017. So, and even prior to 2017, actually the events that culminated into the signing of the CBA were these industrial actions that we see happening left, right, and center. The health sector, that's why I did not want to respond very fast. Like he says, it's multifaceted. First things first, remember the Constitution puts health as a devolved function, but of course there is a role of the ministry. And even if you look at health at the county governments, there have been a lot of problems.
Clawbacks.
There have been a lot of clawbacks as far as health is concerned. So I think our problem boils down to the issue of being true to what we agree on. Because we have had these CBAs, not only for the doctors,
the teachers
we've had for the teachers. So it has become a trend and a culture in our country that we are going to have, and it is a culture that it is known an industrial action will take place, and you will be given a window period. Let them strike for 3 days. Let them call them to the table. We will do ABCD, and then we wait again for another 3 years. Probably in the next 2 years or 1.5 years, the cabinet secretaries are going to be reshuffled. You see, cabinet secretaries are merely political appointees. But of course, it requires a threshold of leadership values to steer forward the ministry into the right direction. But I do really think that there is a generic problem in this country whereby agreements are not being followed. There is a problem of implementation. Actually, somebody somewhere said, we in this country, we shall have the best plans. We have a promise. We have the best design of everything. But when it comes down to implementation and ensuring that things happen the way
that's where we draw the line.
That's where we draw the line. Because if it is an issue of intern doctors, they should have been there from way back. If it is an issue of promotion, that should have happened. Or even if not happening immediately, the government needs to come with a design, at least a process of ensuring that we are true to this calling, we are true to these commitments, and we are true to these promises. So it is more of us being true to our value systems, and of course implementing what we are supposed to be implementing as a country. So Susan Nakumicha, as a CS, well, I am happy that she acted promptly, but there are very many ways to see it. I will not really blame her for that. There are many things to it
that might not be in her control.
That might not be in her control, because there is also a lot of pressure from the county governments. You can even see what was happening in Nakuru. Doctors striking. There are times when the CS will even wake up if the county doctors decide to do this and this. Because right now, as it is, the health docket is devolved. But now, what we can question is, has devolution worked as far as the health docket is concerned?
And I think this is where, when I pose the question as has the cabinet secretary sort of fallen short, there is this aspect that many politicians have been talking about, and I think we also had Raila Odinga speaking to it, that there is slowly, there are things that are showing signs of going behind on the devolution agenda. When you look at most of the stipulations that have been suggested in the SHIF bill and all these other bills, that have been suggested by the government, you see that they are trying to take back some of the functions that were given to the county governments. They are trying to take them back at the national government. Yes, the national government might be looking at it from a perspective, hey, you're not being able to implement these particular things, so let us take them back. But have you put systems in place for you to be able to take back those powers? Ian?
Well, from what I'm saying, The CS is under a lot of pressure, as we all agreed on.
Yeah.
Pressure from the KMPDU, pressure from all
The counties.
all
Governments.
stakeholders.
And actually also the patients themselves, because the NHIF cards in some hospitals, they are not being taken.
Yeah. So the real issue is the problem is, are we able to the intern that are there? But is it the issue of funding, or what? Because at the end of the day, even as we talk about the issue of devolution not working, at the end of the day, who's supposed to implement these things? Because if the money in short, is it an issue of the money, or is it an issue of shortage of hospitals that the intern are supposed to be posted?
She said it was a shortage of funds. She said she was called the parliamentary committee on health the other day. You bring in an interesting perspective. You see, the drafters of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 envisioned that while the national government will support the county government in terms of providing resources, but the Constitution, the draft of the Constitution envisioned that the county governments will also generate revenue for themselves. You see? And actually in their mind, that is why they devolved health. But to be honest with you, Alan, health has really, really suffered
at the hands of
the counties.
Yeah.
And one would ask, why would health suffer? Of course, we have endemic problems in our countries, and corruption is also part of it. Because I fail to understand. Right now, you see the county governments complaining that the allocation is supposed to be added. The monies that are earmarked for health, at least let us see changes. Look at these level 5 hospitals. Most of them are in deplorable states. You know, and most of the time they just run to the parent ministries for help, for aid, and what have you. So I think it's incumbent upon the county government as well to also, we need to perform but at least to do a postmortem on these counties. Why is it that when there's a national strike for doctors and nurses, now you will not listen to them talking. Now all the blame shifts to the national government. So there needs to be an analysis, or rather an evaluation, to see how health and also other functions that have been devolved, how they have been implemented, implemented in the different years of devolution under the devolution government since 2013.
I think it's an interesting way to look at it. Time allows us for a last conversation, which I know everybody would be so excited about. Probably others might not, but I know a number of this panel definitely will be excited about it. Let us start with background. What happened in Addis Ababa last week?
What happened in Addis Ababa? Maybe you can enlighten. A lot of things have been happening in Addis Ababa.
Let us ask them what happened in Addis Ababa last week.
A very interesting political development. I call it political development because that is it. That is what it is.
Yes.
There is the AU Council that had a meeting.
Okay.
And in
that is the only thing that happened in Addis Ababa last week.
And in the meeting, yes.
No, I know. I read it from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
There was a unanimous decision that was arrived at. And the decision was, right now, the AU position, the AU Commission chairmanship position, is now being reserved to the Eastern African countries. And now they have been told, in the spirit of collaboration and in the spirit of agreeing, because that is, it might not be expressively clear in the constitution, but there is room. If you read the statutes of the AU, there is room for consensus. It is allowed. There are events whereby state parties can sit to agree that this time round, for the sake of regional integration, because you know very well that since inception of the AU, the defunct OAU, of course, in 1963, most of it has been through negotiations, lobbying, and that. And Eastern Africa has never had an opportunity to lead the AU Commission. So this time, we have had people expressing interest. There is only one candidate who we know has expressed interest clearly. Of course, His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga,
Yes.
Baba himself. So what happened in Addis Ababa is a first step win for the candidate, because as it stands right now, he's the only candidate in Eastern Africa who
has shown interest.
And also gaining, because as we speak, around now 8 countries have pledged to support him. So he will require all the 14 Eastern African countries to support. So I think first and foremost, it's a big step. Before you ask other questions, I can speak a lot about the AU.
Political science, definitely. That should be your cup of tea.
Yeah, as you were saying previously, I think the stars are aligning for Raila Odinga. Right now, I think we can say and we can claim that now the statutes are aligning to favor Raila Odinga. And he has a go-ahead now as the most favored candidate in Eastern Africa, or East Africa, we can say. We also saw that our President Samia Suluhu and President Yoweri Museveni met at one of the few days ago, at one night. I think they also had a consensus on who to support, and that is His Excellency Raila Odinga. So it is evident that now even Kagame came out and said that he will support Raila Odinga. So we were discussing about the hurdles that were there for Raila Odinga, but right now everything is turning into a green light for Raila Odinga, and possibly he might be the next AUC chair.
I know, Ian, with your glasses, you're seeing some amber, not yet green.
Well, as much as I would like to argue, as much as we can see, we came from the unknown, where there was so much conversation on the issue of the qualification of the Right Honorable Raila concerning the issue of the chairmanship. But I think it's too early to conclude. As much as you see, at the end of the day, it's all about state interest. As much as like right now, Tanzania has the best candidate in Jakaya Kikwete. I think also the former Minister of Rwanda, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Rwanda, also make a very good candidate. And if also looking at it from a strategic point of view, Somali presents a very good candidate. That it can give most of the country what it wants, because at the end of the day, the question is, what can Kenya actually give the country that agree with them? Because there's nothing for free. Even during the World War, actually, one of the presidents actually strong-armed Churchill into one of the U.S. president. I think it's either Woodruff or
Eisenhower.
No, not Eisenhower. Roosevelt actually strong-arm as a way of supporting them. You had to give them you wanted to establish a military base in the US. For them, that's a condition for them during the war. So definitely, Kenya will have to make some concession in order to allow Baba to fill, which is actually a good thing for the President Ruto. And I think it will be a big blow. Actually, it's a win for Kenya, because in the event Baba leaves, he leaves a power vacuum. That power vacuum so far, we are not seeing anybody taking over. So I'm seeing a scenario where the issue of the NAC, like where the President Moi chose the former president, that is President Uhuru. At the end of the day, what happened? As a sign of discontent, there was a shift. There was a power shift in which the party that were discontented by the president and picking a successor. What happened is they joined a coalition and win the card. So I think it's a good step forward. I'm advocating for Baba winning the seat, because it's able to open up the political space for young leaders like Honorable Babu Owino to also show what he can do and other things, because whenever there's a vacuum, somebody is born to pick up. On the issue of qualification, I think we can all argue in terms of
remember, we're all scientists on this panel, so do not let us down.
We can all argue in terms of in the legal aspect, in the English aspect, but at the end of the day, I am very skeptical about Baba winning it on merit. Though we all know what the seat being a position, but because as an engineer, as he calls,
as he purports,
and as even went on to visit schools.
Yeah.
So if the school, my question is, if he did not have a master, can the school able to receive him without that? Because at the end of the day, as an academic institution, you have an obligation to uphold the standard of your school. So if Baba did not get his degree from there, then it means that also the institution failed. So I think I'm an open-minded person. I will work based on the evidence.
Well,
yes.
Damian is agitated.
Yeah. I can say this without fear or favor.
Yes.
His Excellency Baba Raila Amolo Odinga is eminently qualified.
Eminently, underline the word eminently.
Raila Odinga comes up as a first and foremost. Before we start, we said AU is first a political entity.
Yeah.
There is the AU power play. Speaking about qualifications, if you have issues with Baba's educational qualifications, it is you to just go to confirm to no university has come out openly. Announce Baba's education. Baba recently in his Facebook post posted pictures of the university where he schooled. He even wrote the name. Definitely the handlers of the social media pages of that university saw it. Nobody has come out openly.
So if the AU has any problem with his qualifications, they should call the university.
They should go.
Damian, just a little bit of things.
Yeah.
Now on the issue of Baba, what I know is we do not, by the value of the fact that the school even allow him to visit, it means that we do not discredit his engineer degree. But the question is, what is the qualification? They're looking for social science. They're not looking for a pure science, which engineering is.
Yeah.
So we are not dismissing Baba degree or his masters, but we are dismissing on the fact that it's not among the it's like taking a lawyer to do architecture. What is that? Why are you hiring a lawyer to do architecture?
Yeah.
You see,
that's the issue.
The issue of Baba's qualifications is only being narrowed to this issue of is engineering a social science or not.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Our legal expert in the party, to say this as a member of ODM political party, gave a different perspective. Explained that courses like engineering, structural science, they come out both as pure sciences and still as social sciences. Yes, they do. I'll not get into that, but if you look at the qualifications that have been highlighted, there is more to qualifications other than academic qualifications. If you look at political grip, first and foremost, Baba has served in the AU. Actually, Kagame gave a nod to Raila Odinga. He said the experiences that he brought when he was the envoy for infrastructure really show a leader who can be trusted in this. And remember, the people who will vote. You see, the AUC is an organ within the AU. There are other organs. There is the Assembly of the Head of States. The Assembly of the Heads of States is the one that votes for the AU chairman, as well as the deputy. The 8 commissioners will be appointed. And Baba is gaining acceptability from the various heads of states. Presents a picture of a regional leader. That's my person, in short.
I think I am happy. I am happy when Raila Odinga gets that AUC chair, because Raila Odinga comes out as a very learned person in terms of also how Africa should go ahead towards the future. He is a Pan-African. We've not on one statement have I had Raila Odinga commenting on issues that are affecting Africa, being passionate about Africa, who Africans are and where we should be. I think one of the politicians in Kenya who knows the history of Africa perfectly well is His Excellency Raila Odinga. So I really hope that Raila Odinga will have that AUC chair. That's fine.
May I have a question that I have to ask here? When you talk about Pan-Africanism, yes, it has already sort of being sidelined for the East African community, but still, as you said, the heads of states have to still vote from the different countries. I'm looking at countries who are sort of leaning to the East, who are leaning Russia, who are leaning China. And as we know, Raila has sort of come out, not necessarily Russia, not necessarily West, but many people will construe him to be on the West because, as we said also, the state is sponsoring him. So they might not, other countries, other African countries might not look at Raila as a person standalone, but they might look at Kenya as a country. Where do we lean politically as a country? Might that have a dent on his bid?
I don't really think so. Like we say, first and foremost, all politics is local. Of course, geopolitics, global politics notwithstanding, I think there comes a time when Africa stands alone, and this is that actual time. Because there is more interest within, because there is a discussion that is emerging right now, and His Excellency Raila Odinga began that discussion in the year 2018. He says, who tells you that investment only means that Africa has to trade with the USA? Who told you that investment only means that Africa is only limited to trade with the UK? Remember that we have a lot of resources, untapped resources in African countries. What we can begin, we can leverage on intertrade. There is a lot of oil in South Sudan. Can we begin a conversation whereby now Kenya, to a large extent, can even use the Sudanese dollar? That is the conversation that Africa should have. So the rest,
to correct you, it's
Sudanese pound.
Sorry, South Sudanese pound. South Sudanese pound.
Rien.
We can decide, we can use it.
There
was a time when Gaddafi, the late, attempted to begin such conversations, and it did not
end well for him.
See, Africa has a great potential, you know, and in moments whereby we are required to stand alone, we have always done it, and that's why we conquered in our clamor for independence. While interests are there, there are countries that lean on the capitalist West and the communist East. Our politics can go as far as they want to go. We also have Francophone and Anglophone politics. But there comes a time when now Africa should learn to transcend, as my colleague puts it. So the interests, the capitalists, communists,
they can sit out of this one.
Let them sit out of this one.
And by the way,
in a minute,
Raila Odinga can also boast that he went to study in Magdeburg University, that was in East Germany. So he understands also communism. He understands how the policies were being executed. And now he is in Kenya. He understands also capitalism and everything. So he is a mix of both that plays out well.
I see for the first time you're looking for so many reasons for Raila to leave Kenya. Yes, in a minute,
that's what Boni is actually saying is just that he just want Baba out of the politics.
No.
So that they can have a field in 2027. Yes.
That's it. And then I think I agree with my colleague here on the issue of the politics being more of local, not geopolitically. Because I was looking at what would the United States actually stand to gain by somebody being the secretary, running the secretariat of the United Nations
or the African Union.
The African Union. I mean, I do not see anywhere they benefit. Because at the end of the day, the American always say America is not your friend, but it actually look at the American interests. So when I look at it from I fail to see
interest,
I fail to see, but I stand corrected. And well, in the issue of Kenya has very good friends, and I think if it's a matter of a win, they can actually give Baba the win. That's something. But as I said, it's not always the first runner who win the race. It's still early to speculate, but it's good that we support one of our own as a East African bloc, so that at least he can push one or two, because at the end of the day, it has to begin at home.
Yeah.
We don't support our own, we will support it.
Yeah.
I think we do not have anything else to add on okay, but
maybe just news that has just come in.
Yes.
There has been an accident that along Taru to Mombasa, 2 kilometers from Maungu. And more than 10 Kenyatta University students are dead.
Oh my God, that's my alma mater.
Yeah. We send
So
our
sad.
condolences to the KU
So then
fraternity.
it's an KU.
Yeah.
okay, there is one conversation that we need